You're watching The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales. Streaming live daily to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
2, 1.
Jay, am I holding you up?
Yes.
Hi, everybody.
That music used to fade out.
Did it used to fade out? I don't know. Everybody, welcome to Minute To Skim It here on The Experience / Miss Jen's page. Kyle,
Okay, it's really gonna bother me now.
It's gonna bother you?
Yeah, it's really gonna bother me now. Like, I don't know if this is a Mandela effect thing, or if it never faded out, or if it used to fade out and now it doesn't. But my brain is going to shake until I figure out the answer.
I'm telling you, I'm gonna find my VHS copy of Shazam, and you guys are gonna have your minds blown.
Shazam!
Shazam!
So before we do before we do anything, so Kyle, you might be messed up from that because what I did was.
Oh, I know what you did. I can see what you did.
I put all three
but
together.
I honestly don't remember the answer to the question.
I don't remember either.
That's what I'm saying.
Hi, Triple B.
What's up, Ed? What's up, Jet? Triple B. How's everybody?
I'll talk louder, Eddie. Sorry.
Well, I'm really close to my microphone, so I may be distorting everybody's goals here. So
It's possible.
it's possible. Should we get into it?
Let's do it.
Yes.
I like the comics.
Yes.
What? Are we old people now? Ah!
Speak louder, Shuddy.
All right, Batman 139 is Zdarsky goodness. I read this specifically because we're at the very heels of the big Gotham War end, in which we have no Catwoman anymore. It appears to have her die at the end of the war, so we'll see. We'll see. I don't want to ruin it for anyone that's going to read the end of it because it has, possibilities at the end of there. So this picks up right where all of that craziness left off. But in this case, it looks like Batman is taking the opportunity of having Bruce no longer be around to go full Batman. Like his whole goal is to ignore his old life. He's freed of all the constraints and just full on Batman and, be real brutal about it. And it's awesome. But he still has somebody in the shadows that's after him. Like always, you can probably imagine who it is by the many ha-has in the lights there. And there's some craziness that happens about 3/4 of the way through the book. That character does something to Batman that I don't know if it's this mind bomb stuff that's just messing with his brain or if it's actually happened. So it's a good place to jump in. All you really need to know is that stuff I just told you, and you can totally enjoy a Batman's and Zdarsky's craziness.
Are we going to get gun user Batman back? I hope. I'm very excited. I already ordered I already have my digital copy ready to be downloaded at midnight, so I can read that on the plane tomorrow. Okay.
Woo-hoo!
Abbott 1979 #2. Okay. So if you guys read Abbott Volume 1, you remember the thing from Abbott Volume 1 that was like causing all the havoc? Can confirm now that we're in #2 of this is back.
Oh.
But the things we learned about Abbott in Volume 2, they're not working. It's like it's almost like her power was finite and she's running out, but she keeps having moments where it's actually more powerful than ever. So the thing it reminds me of is in like the Phoenix saga where Jean Grey is slowly becoming the Phoenix,
Okay.
right? And there are glimpses of the Phoenix until she finally figures out how to control it and really leans into it. That's what this feels like for Abbott, right?
Or
Um,
maybe Franklin Richards when he's like using it up. He's like ultimately powerful, and then all of a sudden he's like, nope, don't have anything left.
No, I think it's there, but I think she's like mind blocked to it.
Oh, okay.
Like she doesn't understand how the powers work yet, how her abilities work, and as a result, she's not able to summon them. I'm going to use the word summon. I don't think that's the right word.
Mm-hmm.
Not able to use them at will, especially when she's hammered, which every dude who's ever had an alcohol problem knows what I'm talking about. So, there's a helper that you'll recognize from previous volumes who's helping her.
Okay.
So this issue was really good because it really gives you a look into Detroit in the late 1970s. Because Detroit had this period where, after the riots in '78, um, there was sort of almost a segregation of Detroit unintentionally. The mayor and city council were white. Most of the cops were white, and people who had risen to power through the riots in '78, especially people of color, were kind of being pushed towards the fringes. This issue gives you a real good look at kind of the inner workings of that, offset with this ethereal horror.
I like when they actually, if they're going to put it in an era, people have actually done some research and
Well,
have that really affect
Ahmed,
the story.
Saladin Ahmed is from Dearborn, Michigan, so he's from just outside of
Oh,
Detroit.
yeah.
So it's the history he learns in school, which is great. And it's how I know it. It's the history I learned because I'm a nerd and it's 40 minutes that direction. So
Oh, that looks cool.
yeah. I almost picked this one, Jay. This close, man.
I'm glad you didn't.
Is
Yeah.
that a popsicle?
That's the reason I almost picked it. I'm like, if I pick this book and it's not just about popsicles,
When it
I'm gonna
says
be big angry.
burger.
Yeah. This was interesting. It's got a very unique art style. It's also very hard to explain. So this starts out 10 years in the book's past, and we see a man bring cookies to this monster that's just like eating trash.
Like you do.
Yeah. And he tells it, this will keep you strong. It won't be long now. Then it cuts to the book's present, and we learn from our main characters that people think the monster's just a legend, just to keep folks out of the mayor's factory. And there's something specific about this mayor's factory is why they think this legend is watching over it. And they call it the Gobblegeist. Our main characters, yeah, our main characters, they plan on breaking into the mayor's factory because that's where the real food is what they say. What they make is like from scraps. Like the main like one of the main characters makes these cookies, but it's like out of pieces of salad. Very strange. And they get burgers out of vending machines. That's a vending machine burger box that you're seeing on that cover. Not sure how safe that is, but anyway, our characters are a brother and sister named Bandit and Thatcher, and their friend Leo. So they break into this factory, and Leo is the lookout. Bandit is inside, and he's like, "Hey, there are guards coming! Jump down the garbage chute." So he goes down the chute, and who does he run into? The Gobblegeist. But Is the Gobblegeist the monster they've all been taught to fear, or is it something else? This was a really fun story, all ages, but it doesn't feel like a kids book. I would definitely read more of this. I really enjoyed this one.
It looks awesome in half.
Gobblegeist. Oh my goodness.
Gobblegeist.
That's awesome.
Pretty. Mitch! This is another one of those trippy books. It's funny, after you watch or after you read a book, sometimes the cover makes more sense when you're done. Probably for the book you just read, Jay, probably that's it. So once you read this book, you'll be like, oh, I see now what those objects are going down the side, why they're important to the storyline. So this is one of those trippy books where that guy is the main character that's in the middle there. He looks like a rabbit man. He's got a very square head. He looks very interesting. You find out that he is an agent of some sort. And he spends a lot of his time drunk. Looks like Hellboy in an Easter Bunny hat a little bit. He's got that.
You know what he looks like? Is it Spaceballs? John Candy and Spaceballs?
Yeah,
Barf.
Barf. Barf. Yeah. So, it is a story about UFOs, which is what's over there on the right-hand side. And they're it kind of feels like it acknowledges the fact of the very early saucer-shaped entities landing, but it has added more to the history that have landed since. There's still no like, hey, there's aliens on our planet. But for some reason, this bunny man seems like he's acceptable, but he also is the only one around. Everyone else is just humans in this storyline. So the kitty cat is cute because he's just an alley cat that ends up being befriended by him, and that part is awesome. And so it's just really, if you like UFO stories and like animals doing people things, which Kyle loves, this is a good book. Like some of the stuff recently I've been kind of like about, but this one is, I'll definitely read the second issue of this. It's cool enough concept and so much different than anything that is out there that it's a definite yes from me.
Okay. So I read the other books in this series. This is the Cats versus Pickles series. That is it's an all ages book that Dynamite is putting out through their partnership with the kids publisher. Here's the deal on this one. Real simple. Cats hate cucumbers and pickles.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. The internet seems to think it's because they think they're snakes. Can you guess how? I'll give you a hint. It's the title. Basically, Christmas starts to not look like Christmas is supposed to look, and it's because the pickles have stolen a lot of the cats' Christmas decorations.
Aww.
And, so they can have their own Christmas. And because the cats won't share. So that's kind of the premise here. Is that cats are cats. Pickles are pickles. Everybody should be able to have Christmas, but cats should be scared of. But cats and pickles should be friends. End of the story.
I'm wondering now, because the first time I saw Cats versus Pickles, it was the plushes. They're little beanie butt plushes. So I wonder what came first, the books or the plushies now.
The plushies and then the books.
Okay.
I know because I just bought a bunch of the plushies on sale, on clearance at the local store, to go with the insane amount of this book that I ordered to give to everyone at Christmas.
Aww.
So there you go.
Good move. Give the joy of reading.
Speaking of cats, this is Captain Ginger, the last feeder.
Oh.
So, okay, Jay, is this a follow-up to Laser Cats from Saturday Night Live?
I
No.
don't think so.
Okay, if you've not seen the Laser Cats sketches, just go Steven Spielberg Laser Cats on YouTube.
Sorry, Jay. Go ahead.
A volume 3, number 1. What better story for someone who can't remember what they read 5 minutes ago to jump into? This does do a good job though of catching you up. So if I can get what's going on, everybody's safe. What if humans were gone? Who would inherit the earth? Well, cats. And by the looks of it, one dog. Of course, it'd be cats. Animals doing people things. And yes, I know that you can't see it, but this is an Ahoy book. And Ahoy, when you think Ahoy, you think either overly silly or extremely edgelordy. This book is neither. This is a really solid, good story. I enjoyed reading this one. And Ahoy is usually very, very hit or miss with me. This one's definitely a hit. It feels like, even though this looks like a Star Wars cover, it feels like Star Trek and Babylon 5 with cats. And if that doesn't hook you, I don't know how else to present this book to you. But I really, really dug this one. I thought it was really good by Ahoy. So, not laser cats, but good enough.
Oh, Petrol Head. This was trippy and awesome. So, how to explain this? This comes from a world in which humans do exist, but they, at some point, have, like, I'm going to call them robots that have kind of like become part of their society. And they, humans need to be entertained, so they basically have relegated these robots to doing crazy races. And it's the producers basically ensure that specific ones win based on what the polls are like. It's kind of crazy. So you actually meet this one character who is a robot who is kind of doing his own thing. Like, you find out he's building his own souped up car that he's not allowed to. And he also is the only robot that I can see that smokes the cigarettes. So it is kind of a fun concept. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's like this out there that I'd be like, if you like this, you'll like that. I don't know. This is really cool, but no, it's not related to Gasolina, but I like that also.
So legally not Transformers.
Not Transformers, no. So he's not transforming. That he's actually driving it. You can see his arm sticking out the window going, whoa. He's in there. He's driving it.
Huh.
Maximum overdrive.
Well,
I need to read this one.
It sounds like Wacky Races, Transformers, and Death Race all mixed into one.
And My Giant.
And yeah.
Well, the thing that's over who is winning the races and pretty much everything is called O. And it looks like a robot to me. And then the Petrolhead's got his best friend is this little mechanical bird you can kind of see on there. And he's sassy. When you get to the end of the book, there's like a whole like, hey, if you liked our book and you think that O is evil or whatever, it's just like his commentary and like why you think the robot bird's the best character in there. It's just really cute.
Okay. Count Crowley's Mediocre Midnight Monster Hunter.
EJP.
So this is David Desmelchin, who you may know as Polka Dot Man from Suicide Squad, but also from all of the other amazing things David Desmelchin has done. This picks up immediately following Count Crowley's Midnight Monster Theater. Is that what the last one was called?
That sounds right.
Midnight Monster Hunter Theater? Whatever the last volume was, this picks up. Whether it's immediately following it chronologically or not is kind of a open-ended question. But spiritually, in terms of the lives these people are living, it's just the next issue from the previous volume. It could be as long as probably 6 months later, or it could be the next day. You just have no way of telling. But the bad guys from the previous volume are still the bad guys, and they're still playing bad guy overlord games. And Count Crowley and I can't remember her name now, who is the main character, are still trying to stop them, and they're trying to take over television.
Yeah, that was my recollection, is they were trying to take over his popularity as...
Right. They're trying to... So imagine if a cabal of evil vampires tried to oust Svengoolie.
No!
Or Elvira. And then Svengoolie or Elvira had to team up with an alcoholic demon hunter to try to stop them. That's Count Crowley. That's the premise of the story. This is just a continuation of that saga. I'll be honest. I don't know why it's number one. Like, I don't want to say anything negative, but this did not need to be a number one in a new 4-part miniseries. I know why it's number one, and we talked about that last night on Devil's Advocates, right? In this sales theology of more people buy number ones than buy other issues. But this felt like issue 7 of the previous 6 issues, or whatever it was, issue 5 of the previous 4 issues. It literally is just the next issue in this story. It doesn't introduce anyone new necessarily, but it kind of does, but it doesn't. It feels like a middle book in a longer series, but still very good because the previous series was fantastic.
I've got 2 things to say. One, I do want to look in the basement now, despite the world. And I saw the best post today. It was someone saying, hey, people that make movies, you must make this happen. It was Dolly Parton discovers that Elvira is her long lost sister, and it's their adventures.
Listen, I can get behind this, but if the theme song to that movie isn't Dolly Parton singing Elvira by the Oak Ridge Boys, in her voice going, Papa Mau Mau,
yeah, baby,
what are we even doing? Castle, I would say kinda. Not necessarily. You could easily catch up. It does a decent enough job of recapping who everyone is and what the deal is. But you would definitely be playing from behind the 8 ball. It's not going to stop you, and it shouldn't stop you. It's very good. But you're definitely playing from behind the 8 ball.
Ooh.
All right. First thing about this book is the colors for this are very bright and they pop. I mean, the art in this book is gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous. This book is gory. I wasn't expecting it. I mean, dude being eaten in half, another one with a fish hook through his cheek. Kind of taken aback just a little bit, but this is a pretty good story. There's a lot of it I didn't get, and I think it was just the speed that I was trying to get through it. There's like this cult of what I hope are college girls, and I think they are because Sheena's disguised as one. Because these ladies are in schoolgirl outfits with uncomfortably short skirts. The kind of skirts that if you're reading this in public, you want to make sure no one's around you, because there are definitely some cheeky shots in this. But this cult has these pendants that they say brings them luck. They're worshiping this goddess. They say that they're watching on a YouTube video,
Is it
or
Poppy?
not legally. No,
Poppy.
not legally YouTube, I guess, but feels like it. Yeah, I'd have to read more of this one because this is issue 3. I haven't read the first 2 issues. To get exactly what's going on. Like, to be honest with you, reading this book, if I didn't know that this was a Sheena book, I could swear I was reading a Zenoscope book. And that's not a bad thing. The story's good, but the look of it is just very, very different from what I'm used to from Dynamite, which I'm not saying Dynamite does bad work or anything, but this the inside of it really looks like a Zenoscope book. But it was intriguing enough to where, even though I don't understand exactly what's going on, that I would want to go back and get the first 2 issues so I can kind of get caught up. So if you're a Sheena fan, this is definitely one. See, yep, like Triple B said, he loved this one. So you should definitely pick this one up. Go.
Punisher. Yeah. I finished.
Oh, we're not pandering to one specific customer with this one.
Well, who would that be?
I mean, the man is in the comments. Frank Castle is here.
Bronze Age nerd. This one's for you.
No, I'm kidding. I'm giving you a hard time, John.
I already sent a message to Pepos. Who was like, "Holy crap, dude!" All right, so this is first appearance, Bill. So this is the first appearance of the new Punisher. He is super brutal. He's been sent to. He's trying to hunt down this. I think it's just called the Sokovian. And it's so funny. Like, he's in the middle of the book, he realizes that he's been associated with the Punisher, kind of like the old Punisher. Like, he's being mistaken. Like, is Frank Castle back? He's, well, dadgummit, stupid body armor. So I guess supposedly that's an accident, right? The things that it just happens to look like eyeballs. Like, why would you light up your chest, man? But yeah, he's awesome. This is, if you like brutal punishment, you get to see the damage that's happened in his past life that puts him firmly in the Punisher role. Yeah, it's a great place to start the ride. It's not Frank Castle. He's not pretending to be Frank Castle. You don't have to worry about the mafias. Enjoy. Ooh. Nathan Fox, you say?
Yeah. So the thing about Dutch is that this show is called Minute to Skim It. And I may have given this book an entire minute. Unfortunately, I forgot to read this until late. And so I went back and I skimmed it very quickly. And the thing I will tell you about Dutch is that it is sort of a... what sort I'm looking for here? It's not Punisher, but it's not Punisher, if that makes sense. This is 30 years since the previous Dutch existed. You find out that there had been a previous volume. It's an all-new super soldier kind of story. Here's what I'm going to say as a review for this book. Hello, welcome to 1994. This is Image Comics.
Okay.
Like, this feels like Todd and Rob Liefeld and those guys making a super soldier book, old school Image style. I'll be honest, I don't have any salient details on the plot. I don't have any kind of memory of the writing or the art other than it looks like something that Rob Liefeld would have drawn in the very early Youngblood, Bloodstrike kind of days. So if you were into Image in that era and you're into super soldier stories, this is for you.
I love this cover.
Oh, that's disturbing.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go like this. I can't look at that cover. Let me know when it's over, Jay.
I love this cover. I couldn't help it. I could not help it. So the cool thing about this is it feels like this is number 2, but it feels like it starts in the "oh no, I've slept too long" Army of Darkness ending, like the original ending of Army of Darkness. But then it skips to like 1993, and you're in the S Mart, and Ash is being Ash, and he's got a co-worker in the utility closet. But because of Ash's luck, they're like, "Hey, we need you to go clean the bathroom." Then we go all the way back to 1300 AD, and I think it's supposed to be Sheila, if anybody remembers the movie, is trying to stop a ritual from bringing bad, spoiler, back. This felt like I was reading a scrapped script for Army of Darkness 2. Like, I love this story. I collected the Army of Darkness 1979. I'm an Evil Dead, Army of Darkness Ash fan, a Bruce Campbell fan, and I want more of this. I want more of this. This book is so good, and I've only read issue 2 of it. This book is so good.
Wrong. That Vanderbeek.
He does.
You're on point today, man.
Oh wow, yeah, he does kind of look like Dawson, doesn't he? If you're a fan of any of those things, hop on this series. Tony Fleece is doing a tremendous job. So, and let me go ahead and take it off the screen so everybody. There you go, Kyle. It's off.
Oh, Star
I don't
Wars.
know. I don't know what that's called, but you know that thing where you're incredibly made nauseous by patterns of irregular circles? That's that cover.
Mm-hmm. I can see that. Okay, Star Wars High Republic. This is a new series attached to all the old series, so you're okay. If you haven't read the rest of them, you can jump in here. You just need to know that main character there is a Jedi. That's Keeve. Keeve's been around since the first series of High Republic, I believe. And this series deals specifically with there's a big power struggle, and the powers that be want to cut the Hutts off from their power. They're doing a pretty good job of it already. That's already been going on. But everyone shows up to try to finish off the Huttess, who is kind of in charge now. And it feels like everything goes sideways pretty fast. Like, I really, really was worried about halfway through the book whether any of our main characters were going to survive the book. If they're like, oh, are they just clean slate in this or what? What's going on? So it's really great. I will tell you that I have myself not followed all of the High Republic storylines, right? I did not do High Republic Adventures. I didn't finish all the first or second series. I've read parts of them. I will just tell you, it's okay. You can totally jump in here, and they give you enough to help you understand who these characters are and what their interactions are. And, halfway through a book, really actually care, about the outcome for the character. So jump in. And this is me too. I had to read this because I hadn't read X-Men Red in a little while, and I love Apocalypse as a story, as a character. So this is still part of the Fall of X storyline. And X-Men Red is the specific story that's taking place on I don't know why I can never remember the other name of the planet, or Araka. I think that's the Krakoa's sister island that actually is part of Mars now. That part of the universe seems like, when everything went sideways and Orcus, scuttled all of the, or most of all of the mutants that were on Earth. Thank you, Arako. They had to scuttle all those guys. This looks like all the people on the planet are still there and still operating. And in this book, Apocalypse does show up. There are big things that are happening here. This storyline focuses in on his need for Storm to be part of whatever plan he has going forward. Big implications here. He never ever feels like he's not the most dangerous thing in the room, but you get to see how powerful Storm is here. So this is a good book.
Okay, so Haunted Girl #1 was not only disturbing and beautiful, but it was absolutely gut-wrenching to find out the story that goes behind the story. This issue leans into that somewhat, but it really leans into the mythos that they're basing the story on. I believe it's an Asian mythology, because I'm not familiar with it, about this girl who doesn't know that, and again, I'm going to quote Ethan Sachs here. This is about a girl who doesn't know if she wants to continue living, being the only person who can save the world. Right? She's the only person who can save all life on the planet, and she doesn't know if she wants her own life to continue. It leans into some of the mythos of, the evil spirits or the dead coming back and destroying the planet, or destroying life on Earth, I suppose, as it was. And less in the mental health part that the first issue leaned into. Don't get me wrong, it's still there. It's going to be an inseparable part of the story, but this is more that other thing. So this, instead of reading as an issue 2 to me, reads as an issue 1B.
Okay.
Right? If I was going to reapproach this book, I would read 1 and 2 in one sitting, and then I would talk to my therapist. And then I would proceed. That's how I would approach this book. It's so good. And Marco Lorenzana is doing the Lord's work with this art. It's ethereal but real. The ghosts are scary but approachable. The girl, in the way she's drawn, you can tell the anguish she's living in. It's just a really good book. And then Ethan and his daughter Naomi are doing a really good job of telling the story in ways that are digestible. I think if they'd given it to you all at one time, even though I'm suggesting reading 2 issues at once, if you try to read it all at one time, it's going to be so heavy, it will turn you off. So the digestible pieces are really good. I still would read 1 and 2 together and then take a week or whatever, take a month, take some time, deal with any mental health issues you're dealing with, especially in light of this book, and then come back to it.
My recollection about this isn't this Naomi working through her own real life mental wranglings? Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so this is me 2. For someone who's tired of Tinian, I sure read a lot of Tinian.
I was going to say, are you really?
If Something is Killing the Children was about adults, and the something was a semi-demonic serial killer Santa Claus that may or may not be a monster, you would almost get to the level of twisted that the Deviant is. This is a Christmas story set in the twisted mind of James Tynion, where there is murder, there is Krampus-style activity, kidnapping, and things like that. All of these things that could be scary about Christmas, other than having to deal with your crazy aunt or that uncle who won't stop talking about politics or whatever, the actual scary bits of Christmas, Krampus, Belschnickel, all of that kind of stuff, it's here. But it's all guised against, is it Santa? Is it a demon? Is it a monster? We don't know what it is. It wears a mask. It could be the old man from Home Alone 2 or Home Alone 1. 2 is the one where he was in New York, right? Not the one with Tim Curry, the other one. The first one. It could be the old man from that's super scary. There's a whole bunch of things it could be, and we don't know yet. But Tynion is going to kill everyone before Christmas.
Oh, my words.
Wow.
Deep. Yes. Superman 78 is exactly what you expect it to be. It is, American apple pie and the justice and all those good things. This one focuses in on Lois as a secondary character and the emergence of somebody Russian having stored away some kryptonite. You can actually see it down there below him. They've held on to it for a really long time, it appears, waiting for the right moment. So there's some good light-hearted moments between, Lois and Perry and Soups in the newsroom doing their normal newsroom things. And then also, this other thing is coming. So it's the building of a good bad guy for him. So if you like things that are set in eras, and this one does a good job of having that same feel of the movies, this one is super fun. Oh, Thanos. Okay, so Thanos, this one is the formation of a new Illuminati. Weirdly, it's all spoiled by that cover, which is nuts. Well, some of those characters aren't in there. This book is so well written because the whole front end of the book, you're thinking to yourself, is this a Thanos book? It's kind of about something completely else. And it has a character that isn't Thanos or doesn't look Thanos related. But Thanos does show up and does something kind of Sokovia level craziness. If you think about what happened to Sokovia, you can probably figure it out. And his whole goal is to find this one person. Why? We don't know yet. We don't know. This is incredible. Just like pretty much every Thanos series that has ever been written, they're all must-haves. Can't think of a single one where I was like, you can skip this one. This one is really important. Get it.
Okay, I kept taking all those deep breaths because I forgot where I put this book. This is mine. And the reason I got to take a deep breath is Kyle's going to get a little bit of payback on those ash teeth. And I'm going to tell you why. I saved this book for last, and I should have read this book first. I have zero clue what's happening, but it disturbed me. I'm legit going to have nightmares because of some of the imagery that's in this book. I mean, there's people's necks contorting and snapping, and only one character sees it. Everyone else is kind of acting normal. We got food turning into people. There's this monster made of different human parts, including an upside-down head.
Oh, no. Mm-mm.
And, like, no one bats an eye. This thing is ordering food in this cafe, right? And it's like doing like this on a menu, and its finger snaps off. Nobody cares. It's the weirdest thing. Um, but just like Army of Darkness, I want more. It disturbed me, but I want more of this. Like when when a comic is able to invoke those kind of feelings in me, I'm like, I want to jump down that rabbit hole. I want more of this. I want the first two issues now. Uh, I can only tell y'all how it made me feel. I would definitely tell you to read it for yourself. You may agree with me, you may not. But for me, if I would have known this book was going to be like this, it wouldn't have been the last book that I read. That way I could have had my Ash versus Evil Dead Army of Darkness book to kind of set me back on. This is great. It's creepy. It's weird. And if you're into that kind of stuff, this is definitely a book to check out.
Jay's wishing after reading this, I would have let him read the Cats and Pickles book.
Maybe. I'm telling you.
It's a palate cleanser.
Right? Okay.
Oh, that was
So I read this is a Comixology original, which means currently it's digital first and it will eventually come out from Dark Horse. I try to avoid these books for this show because the point of this show is to send you into your local comic shop. But this will let me transition into something else after I talk about this book that I want to remind everyone of. So this is a story about what would you do if you desperately needed money. Right? And everybody knows that story, right? The guy who becomes a hitman or whatever because he desperately needs money. This is all set inside the structure of a Hasidic Jewish community in New York. Like the book starts with the guy explaining that so many of those stereotypes about, people of the Jewish faith who, they have money or they're this or they're that, and how that's not necessarily true, and how one of the big cultural peccadillos is when you don't have money, right? Like this idea of you can't really talk about the fact that you're struggling financially, even though everybody is. Nobody talks about it. And so this is the guy starts with seeing his friend throw a probably $60,000 or $70,000 bar mitzvah for his son. And our main character is looking at that going, I have to throw a bar mitzvah soon. I don't know what I'm going to do. And he finds himself in a situation where he can make a lot of money very fast doing some things that regular people don't want to do. You could probably guess. In a big way, this book feels to me like a fictionalized story of the real life Murder Incorporated.
okay.
Which, if you don't know Murder Incorporated were a group of Hasidic Jewish gentlemen in the 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s who were hitmen for hire for the mob, for the Jewish mob, protecting their community. Or at least that's what they called it. Everybody else seemed to call it terrorism. Anyway. This is that, only modernized and kind of set against a story of how far would you be willing to go to make a better life for your family? And how quickly going that far becomes just normal for you. So that's this. Not at all related to this. Although I would wonder if some of the creative team for this will be there. Is there another? Okay, there's a book after this. Jay, give me a blank screen, man. Is it the last? Okay. Remember, guys, this weekend in New York City at the Center for Jewish History is Juice, the Jewish comic experience. put on by that organization, as well as our friends Danny Fingeroth and Fabrice Sapolsky. I picked that book because it gave me an excuse to mention this, and then I read the book and I'm like, crap, I don't know that they're going to want the two things mentioned together, but it's down the road from there. So,
Frank
like I
Miller
said,
would love it.
right. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's a really well written book. It's a really good idea, and the aspects of Hasidim are very well told in that book. So it's a good book. It's great work, but I'm just not sure that the upbeat, happy sort of festival that they're throwing, event that they're throwing, pairs well with a book about murder. So, all right, we can go back to Jen's Werewolf by Night or Dark. Yeah, what if Dark?
Oh yeah. All right. I love so much when they do what ifs. In this one, the two main characters are Dracula and our man Blade there. It's so awesome because they actually do. I'm always saying I hope so much that they do in kind of like an homage or an Easter egg to those really dumb green glasses, which are on Blade's first appearance comic. They're like green, just of the era, dumb looking glasses. You're like, what in the world? Well, in this book, they actually put him in red versions of those exact same glasses, and I'm like, yes! It gives a new origin story. It's mostly the same exact origin story, but it retells the origin story for Blade. But it sets everything on its head, in which Dracula, although is being hunted down by Blade, ends up getting Blade back by, as you can see on the cover, it's no secret, he actually does end up biting him. So can Blade overcome the then control that Dracula should have over him if he's bitten him? And there it's interesting the way the story totally finishes out. So that part is completely different than what happens in the storyline for Tomb of Dracula or for Blade himself as a story. So if you want just something different, you're like, man, I miss Blade as a awesome character. Or even if you've never read any Tomb of Dracula, you don't know who Dracula is in the universe for Marvel, you don't know anything about Blade, you can totally just enjoy this for what it is. It's a single shot. I know it's weird because they put number ones on stuff that are just like a single shots. They should just say nothing. Just don't put a number on it, just
or write one shot.
One shot is fine. They don't even have to put a number. Just leave it alone. Just put in the place where the one is, what if?
There you go. All right, that's everything.
What?
Yep. All right. Guys, it's super important to us here at The Experience, as we tell you all the time, that you visit your local comic shop. Head over to comicshoplocator.com and type in the numbers of the place where you are. I can never remember what it's called, but you know what it is. And it will tell you where there are comic shops nearby to you. I am traveling. I am going to Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
And while Miss Jen could certainly tell me where there are good stores in Dallas, and I'm definitely going to visit our friend Jeremy, whose shop is in Dallas, right?
Yep.
I have been looking for other comic shops nearby to where I'm going using Comic Shop Locator. So use Comic Shop Locator and check that out. Ed, I think you should pick up Abbott Volume 1, 2, and 3. I think you'll dig it. But everybody, go to your local comic shop and find it. So comicshoplocator.com.
Punisher.
If you had to pick one, what if or Punisher, doing pull from where?
It's the beginning of everything. What if is a single shot? So do the beginning of everything. Punisher.
Yeah, I didn't even read them, and I can answer that one. Well, one's written by David Pepose, while the other one's written by Marv Wolfman. One's written by David Pepose. So, no, comicshoplocator.com to find a store near you. All right. I will be literally asleep on my feet next week for this show. I will be here next week with more great books to read and more reviews for you, where hopefully I'll remember the plots of all of them next time. I'm sorry. I want to apologize in advance to Dutch for not remembering what happened.
Did you just change your name to Gobblegeist?
like the first book. It's been that the whole
Yeah.
show. I was waiting and waiting, and Jay said it, and you never saw it. And I've been waiting and waiting and waiting.
I don't have my new glasses on, man. I can barely see the screen.
Yeah, no, this hour always goes by fast, and we appreciate you guys all being here. We do, like, I don't know about Jen or Jay, but I try to think about y'all when I pick the books I'm going to read, to try and read stuff that's going to appeal to y'all. So we appreciate y'all being here, and we will see you all next time.